there's probably a conversation you need to have. I mean, with an employee, maybe it's a colleague you need to speak with, maybe even someone you care deeply about. You know something needs to be said. You know something needs to change, but you keep putting it off. I mean, you tell yourself, this isn't the right time, or maybe I don't want to make things worse. Maybe it will work itself out. But most leadership problems don't disappear because we ignore them. They grow. I mean, performance issues grow, conflict grows, resentment grows, confusion grows. And eventually, the conversation you are trying to avoid becomes the conversation you can no longer afford to avoid. Great leadership isn't about knowing what to say. Sometimes it's having the courage to say it. Today, we're talking about the conversation you keep avoiding and why great leaders don't run from difficult conversations. Welcome back to Rise to Lead. I'm Doran Anderson. Last week, we talked about letting go. I mean, trusting people. We talked about empowering people, giving others room to lead. But there's another side to developing people. Sometimes you have to tell them the truth, and that isn't always comfortable. Leadership will eventually put you in moments where keeping the peace and doing what's right are not the same thing. And in those moments, your leadership will be tested. I've spent many years in leadership and human resources, and I've seen this happen over and over again. A leader has an employee who isn't performing, but instead of addressing the issue, they want to work around them. They compensate for them. They complain about them. They may even talk to everyone else about the problem except the person who actually needs to hear it. Then months later, the situation becomes serious. And suddenly the employee hears, this has been a problem for months. Now, think about that. If it's been a problem for months, why are they just hearing about it today? That's not fair to the employee at all. And it's not good leadership. Sometimes we think we're being kind to avoid the conversation, but avoidance isn't kindness. Clarity is kindness because people deserve to know where they stand always. Here's something leadership has taught me. You cannot make comfort your highest priority and still lead courageously because leadership will eventually require you to walk into uncomfortable rooms, address uncomfortable behavior, ask uncomfortable questions, and sometimes deliver uncomfortable truth. That doesn't mean you become harsh. It doesn't mean you become disrespectful. And it certainly doesn't mean you use your title as permission to hurt people. You can be direct and still be compassionate. You can be honest and still be respectful. You can hold someone accountable and still protect their dignity. That's mature leadership. When I look back at leadership of Jesus, one thing stands out. Jesus was full of grace, but he was also full of truth. He didn't humiliate people at all, but he also didn't ignore what needed to be addressed. Think about Peter. Peter loved Jesus. Peter was passionate. Peter had tremendous potential, but Peter also needed correction. And Jesus corrected him. Why? Because potential without correction becomes dysfunction. Jesus wasn't correcting Peter because he had given up on him. He corrected Peter because he knew who Peter could become. Sometimes the most loving thing a leader can do is tell someone the truth they need to hear so they become who they're capable of becoming. This is where many leaders struggle. We want harmony. We don't want conflict. We want everybody to get along. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But sometimes leaders confuse peace with silence. They aren't the same thing. Remember that silence can hide dysfunction. Silence can protect poor performance. Silence can allow disrespect to continue. Silence can cause your people to wonder, does my leader even see what's happening? And here's something leaders need to understand. What you tolerate, your team will eventually believe you accept. That's why courageous conversations matter. So, how do you actually do it? I mean, how do you have a difficult conversation without destroying relationships? I've learned to keep a few things in mind. First, get your heart right. Don't walk into a conversation angry. Don't walk in trying to win. Don't walk in trying to prove you're right. Walk in trying to help. Your objective should be clarity, not victory. Second, deal with the facts and not assumptions. Talk about what happened. I mean, what you observed. Provide examples, what the expectation was or is, and where the gaps exist. Don't attack someone's character at all. Address the behavior. And third, listen. This is critical. I mean, a difficult conversation should still be a conversation. You may know what happened, but you may not know why it happened. Give people room to explain. Ask questions. Listen without interrupting. Sometimes the information you learn may change the entire conversation. And fourth, be clear on what needs to change. Don't leave people guessing. I mean, explain the expectation. Explain what good looks like. Explain what happens next. And finally, follow up. Don't have the conversation and then disappear. Coach them. I mean, check in on them. Recognize improvement. Celebrate small wins with them. Continue to develop them. Accountability without support can feel like punishment. Accountability with support can become development. When I look back over my own journey, there were times early in my career when I needed correction. I needed someone to tell me, Doran, you're capable of more than this. You have potential, but some things have to change. And I can tell you today, the people who challenged me didn't destroy my future. In many cases, they help shape it because sometimes we can't see ourselves clearly. Sometimes we don't recognize our blind spots. Sometimes we don't realize how our behavior is affecting others. That's why leadership requires courage because someone may not appreciate the conversation today, but one day they will understand why you cared enough to have it. And there's another side to this. Great leaders just have difficult conversations with other people. They create environments where people can have difficult conversations with them. That's different. Can someone disagree with you? Can someone challenge your thinking? Can someone tell you that you got it wrong? Can someone give you honest feedback without worrying about how you'll react? And if you're always interrupting, always defending, always explaining, eventually they'll stop talking. And when people stop telling the leader the truth, the leader becomes vulnerable. Strong leaders create safe spaces for honest conversations. They listen, they ask questions, they stay curious. And sometimes they say, you're right, I could have handled that better. That's not weakness at all. That's confidence. Ephesians 4:15 teaches us, speak the truth in love. Think about those two words, truth and love. Truth without love can become harsh. Love without truth can become avoidance. But when you bring the two together, you get something powerful. You get accountability with compassion. correction with dignity, honesty with respect. That's the kind of leader I want to be. And that's the kind of leadership I believe God calls us to practice. Here's your weekly challenge. Think about one conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's feedback you need to give. Maybe it's a boundary you need to establish. Maybe it's an apology you need to make. Maybe it's a performance issue you need to address. Maybe it's simply something that needs to be said. Don't wait another month. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Prepare yourself. Get your heart right. Know the facts. Choose your words carefully and have the conversation. Not to hurt someone, not to prove a point, but because leadership requires courage. Some of the most important moments in your leadership will never happen on a stage. They won't happen in front of hundreds of people. There won't be an applause. They'll happen behind closed doors, 2 chairs, 2 people, 1 difficult conversation. And what you say in that moment, how you listen, how you respond, how you treat that person may change the trajectory of their career, their confidence, their leadership, maybe even their life. So don't run from the conversation. Lead through it. Because great leaders don't choose comfort over courage. They don't avoid the truth to keep temporary peace. And they don't use honesty as an excuse to abandon compassion. They speak the truth with courage, with respect, and with love. This is Rise to Lead. I'm Doran Anderson. Keep rising. Keep growing. Keep developing others. And remember, the conversation you're afraid to have may be the very conversation that changes everything. God bless you.